It is not a biological error. What you are witnessing is the raw, unedited power of human anatomy. It is a stark, almost dark biological reality that the very mechanisms governing our deepest dread and our most profound desires exist within the exact same bodily framework.
The fight-or-flight response is our ultimate survival mechanism. Yet, incredibly, it is simultaneously the engine of intimacy. Think about the physiological markers of intense fear. Your heart rate increases, your blood pressure rises, and your respiration quickens. Now consider the markers of intense pleasure. They are exactly identical. Because these physical symptoms mirror one another so perfectly, your brain is forced into a state of profound confusion. It struggles desperately to differentiate the instinct to survive from the biological drive to connect. This profound confusion unveils the uncompromising architecture of the sympathetic nervous system. This system operates under a state of physiological identity. It does not possess separate, neatly divided pathways for terror and ecstasy. Instead, it floods your body with a singular, overwhelming force. It prepares your muscles and organs for the fight of their lives, while simultaneously and inescapably priming the intricate pathways of courtship. The body ignites, entirely regardless of the spark. We actually saw the reality of this shared biological wiring captured perfectly in the 1974 Dutton and Aaron study. Researchers placed men on a high, shaking suspension bridge, a structure deliberately designed to induce visceral, physiological fear. After crossing, these men interacted with an attractive female interviewer. The results were absolutely striking. The men who experienced the visceral terror of the bridge were 4 times more likely to pursue the female interviewer than those who crossed a sturdy, safe bridge. The profound outcome of that bridge study is rooted in a concept known as the misattribution of arousal. This is the phenomenon where the brain misinterprets physiological survival responses, like a fear-induced racing heart and heavy breathing, as romantic or sexual interest. Your body acts as a blind furnace. It provides the raw physical fuel, the heat, the sweat, the surging adrenaline. But your brain, isolated in the dark of your skull, is forced into a biological choice. It is left desperately trying to assign a label to this intense internal fire. But the mystery deepens when we realize the true origin of this confusion lies much deeper than a beating heart. Beneath the cortex, beneath your conscious mental functions and emotional dispositions, throbs a primitive neuronal system. We call these the brainstem's master cells. They are multimodal neurons lacking a narrow response spectrum. They literally do not distinguish between the agonizing and the ecstatic. Instead, they serve as a shared ignition switch, activating the forebrain and behavior by responding equally to both painful signals and sexually relevant stimuli. These master cells are not just scattered randomly throughout your head. They are concentrated in a precise neuroanatomy known as the arousal crescent. This is a roughly crescent-shaped domain of cells and axons along the ventral and medial borders of the brainstem. Its clinical function is absolute and uncompromising. It alerts the forebrain to any high-information event in the environment. To the arousal crescent, the sudden appearance of a lethal predator or an intimate partner requires the exact same physiological ignition. This shared ignition switch operates under severe biological thresholds, which are defined by the curvilinear relationship. You see, there is an optimal level of activation for the human body. Moderate activation, like the initial thrill of fear, actually facilitates and boosts physiological sexual arousal. But when extreme fear triggers an overwhelming surge of the sympathetic nervous system, the choreographed cooperation within your body shatters. This overwhelming life-or-death surge forces an involuntary reflexive discharge of pent-up energy, resulting in a physical climax completely devoid of courtship. This intense, involuntary response is deeply misunderstood. It is not a flaw or some biological glitch. It is an extreme case of excitation transfer. This is the migration of residual energy, where arousal from a threat is transferred directly to the reproductive drive. If a threat is present but survival is not immediately terminated, the body forces this energy migration. It is a brutal, calculated mechanism designed to ensure the continuation of our species, even in the face of imminent danger. The roots of this mechanism stretch far, far beyond human history. It is a deep evolutionary legacy. The very master cells controlling these rapid, overwhelming responses were already present in the hindbrain reticular formation of fish. Nature, in its endless pragmatism, did not throw away these crucial neurons. It maintained and preserved them directly through millions of years of vertebrate evolution, wiring them deep into the core of modern human physiology.
This deep evolutionary truth forms the bedrock of the BBURP theory. That stands for a bilaterally symmetric, bipolar, universal response potentiating system. The truly unsettling reality of the BBURP theory is this. The exact same ancient machinery that controls a fish's frantic escape from a looming shadow in the water is the identical machinery that manages the modern human response to an intimate romantic touch. At the absolute center of this physiological storm lies arousal. It is not merely a component of reproduction, it is the holy grail of neurobiology. Arousal is the bedrock function supporting all cognitive abilities and all emotional expressions. It is the precise intersection where cognition meets emotion. It is where the primitive imperative to survive merges completely and irreversibly with the drive to feel. Because these systems are so deeply and anciently intertwined, an involuntary physical reaction to fear does not define one's character, nor does it imply consent. The human brain is a brilliant information processing machine, but in the heat of a terrifying moment, it is forced to rely on a shared ancient architecture. As the research makes devastatingly clear, the data of terror and the data of pleasure are written in the same ink. The survival mechanism within you is powerful, ancient, and deeply complex. Have you ever felt a sudden surge of adrenaline in a high-stress environment transform into an unexpected physical sensation? When you reflect on the deeply intertwined wiring of your own primitive biology, remember that the heart racing in fear and the heart racing in desire are separated only by the delicate, invisible illusions of the mind.